Ben Vivier, right? Is that how I pronounce your name?
Viviers, Vivers, whatever.
Vivier.
Viviers is the normal Viviers or Vivier.
Thank you so much for joining. I saw your videos on one of the Facebook channels, and I immediately got hooked. Anything that involves a bit of off-roading and camping, I immediately sit and I watch it for a bit. And I was, yeah, like I said, I was immediately hooked, and I showed it to my wife, and she's watched a ton of them. And I went to go check on YouTube, and I saw you weren't there, but I believe you are now on YouTube, and I'm going to link that in the description below.
Yep.
Would you like to please take a few minutes and just introduce yourself?
All right. All right. Thanks, Stephen. Well, firstly, thank you for having me. And yep. So, the van life, well, thanks for the compliment and the fact that you guys are watching the videos. The van life basically started like any other South African family and how we grew up as South Africans, I suppose, or a lot of families around the world camping, and then you always had those normal family videos that are not really produced into anything other than kind of taking up space in the cupboard, I suppose, and not linking it, not telling a story. And being a school teacher myself, I love a good story and telling a good story. And so I guess it all started from there. And with me, just basically, following the kids around, recording everything that we do, and then putting it into a nice story. And I'm so glad that you guys are enjoying it. And yes, you're right. I've only joined Facebook, was it at the end of 2020? So
Oh,
being a
wow.
school teacher myself as well, I've tried to stay off social media as much as I can. But anyway, so finally took the plunge and started posting it to some groups, I suppose, mainly camping groups. That's where you probably saw it as well. And that yearning was just there to kind of show others what we do, because I know a lot of people have been asking on Facebook, like yourselves as well, why aren't you on YouTube? We can't find you anywhere, and we would like to follow you. So I kind of put that fear aside of going online, I suppose, and it's basically I just want to make sure I put a good product out.
Yeah.
Like everything I do, I want to do it well, and but also be careful, to be careful about things that you put out, with your family name on it, I suppose, and your children's faces on it. So, but look, it's grown over the last few years, and it's just the love of obviously recording, showing those spur of the moment things that you do, that you capture on camera, and then started slowly adding the drone shots in there, adding a few little you just learn as you go, I suppose. And as a teacher myself, I always tell the students, try new things. You're not going to be a professional to start with, and it's kind of just grown from there, I suppose. And like I said, when you finished making one of those videos and your children shout at you, they want to watch it again, then you're onto something. You're onto something good.
Yeah. What do you teach?
Well, I am a senior school mathematics, so maths 7 to 12.
I see you're clever as well. All right.
So the last 15 years, I've been teaching at an independent private school, and so 15 years of maths teaching, and then and more recently, I've made a bit of a U-turn, and now the deputy head of a junior school. So
Wow.
so
All right.
basically just supporting my staff and students and parents, a little bit just out of the classroom for now, and I thoroughly enjoy supporting everyone behind the scenes, I suppose, so that everything functions really well in the school. So thoroughly enjoy that one as well.
You can't tell me anything. I work in a school. I'm not a teacher. I'm an IT coordinator.
Yep.
We're also a private school, but we're a primary and a secondary school in one.
Yep.
And I work very closely with the heads of primary as well as secondary to make sure that their technical needs are met. We're actually quite a big team. It's a very supportive group around me. And I've worked in several places in IT and in education. I worked in the UK, I worked in South Africa, and I've never really experienced it like I did in Australia, where people are just, wherever you maybe didn't understand something fully, or you weren't available due to maybe your child is sick, there's always someone that stepped in and have taken care of what needs to be done, watching my ticket queue, communicating on my behalf. I just love it. I love working in a school, and it's so fulfilling, dealing with kids on a day-to-day basis. I do once a year, I do inductions. I take all the year sevens through their tech, show them how to get on a network, show them how to download Word and Adobe and all those sorts of things. I can go on and on about working in the school.
That's good.
Absolutely.
I've got another connection because I work closely with our IT staff as well. So now if I need any help, I know who to phone.
I bet you do. It's just like when we started watching your videos, my wife's like, you know what? I think you and this guy's going to get along just well. She'd be quite surprised now to hear that you also work.
The IT guys at our place as well. They were blown away when I showed them a quick video because they said, what do you get up to in your spare time? And they couldn't believe that a maths teacher can come up with something like that. So anyway, so I took the compliment and yeah, so
sometimes it's you just need to step out of the box. Now, let me tell you something about YouTube. My family, right? When we do dinner, depending on where we do it, if we do it in the living room, YouTube is our entertainment, and we have a few favorites. We've got Flying the Nest, which is a South African couple. The guy is actually born in South Africa, and he moved to Australia as a teenager or as a young boy, and they make the most beautiful videos. I would encourage you to go watch it because I've learned so much with the way that they do things. Trip in a Van, which you probably know.
Yep. I've met the crew on our travels along the way as well. Yep.
Wow, you did. The closest I ever got was we went camping in Warrnambool, also on with the van or a trailer, and we drove all the way there. It was so cold, and it was December. We're like standing there in 10 degrees Celsius. I'm like, I don't understand. We were chasing summer. Yep. And when I checked on Instagram the day after we left, they were there as well. And I'm like, wow, I would have loved to meet them because the adventures that they got up to is what encouraged us to buy a ute. I'm calling it a ute now, not a bucky, and a trailer to actually just get out and go see places. Now, the same thing with your videos. We sat here earlier on and we were watching your YouTube video. I mean, it's like that is our entertainment, and it looks professional. It looks well done, well spoken. Because the one thing that kind of puts me off watching any video is when the sound doesn't come through clearly. And sometimes people can't help it, and your videos are just they look and sound great.
Oh, thanks. I'll take the compliment. I'm not a professional, but I'm trying to do it. Like I said, I want to put something out there that's good quality, and and obviously to lure people in as well. I've got a good crew behind me. I've got the missus. The missus is all in. You have to buy into something like any business or anything. She's jumped on the bandwagon. The kids are loving it, and it's just kind of giving the not the drone yet, but giving the GoPro to Adam, let him go and explore like a little David Attenborough, I suppose. And being, as I said, being a school teacher, I like to, although I'm a maths teacher, I like to go outside of the classroom as well and look at maths and nature and these things. And so the moment school concludes, with all our holidays that we get, I hook the van and we are off, and then explore nature and with the family as much as we can,
That's wonderful. Tell us a bit about the places that you've seen. I'm interested. So, okay, first of all, how long have you actually been in Australia?
Yeah. Okay, so I arrived at the end of 2007. So right after the Springboks won the Rugby World Cup, so it was a good year for us. I just finished university. Sam and I both studied at Puka or Northwest University, and so I arrived late in 2007 after my parents decided to immigrate whilst I was still studying, and they left me there basically. So luckily I had Sam, so I came over, and not long after that Sam followed as well, which is great. So we were extremely blessed, and the Lord looked after us, because it was a lot of people probably thought that's the last we saw, especially from her side of the family. This is the last we see of Ben. And look, and I just had eyes for her, and I just wanted to get her here basically, and with everything that I had, the Lord just opened doors, and
That's
everything.
wonderful.
Absolutely blessed, you know. So
That's amazing. That is a great testimony. And I love stories like that because I can sit and ramble endlessly on what the Lord has done for us and how where we were down to our last resort and we would we basically gave up on permanent residency because we applied during COVID and we were already here and we paid, I don't know, $12,000 or whatever it cost for family back then. And in the middle of COVID, they told me my son's passport expired. And we can't give you a visa. I'm like, oh my word. I'm like, what are we going to do? Because Home Affairs is closed in South Africa. So we submitted the application. We prayed and cried about it. And then just one day I was at work, just doing what I do. And I got a message saying we got permanent residency. And my wife and I, but that's without a proper passport for my son.
Wow.
Anyways, we did the application for his passport anyway, but I mean, that was like a month in. Lo and behold, 5 months later, guess what arrives in the mail? New South African passport.
Oh, great.
So it was just, everything just sort of worked out beautifully. And there's not a day that doesn't go by where we're absolutely grateful for what he's done and where we are. Now, tell me, so you've been here for 2007. 13, I'm not a math teacher. Give me a second.
Oh, let's go.
20. Is that 26 years?
Yeah, but 16, 17, right?
Oh, yeah, it's 75,300. Yeah. Anyway, you've been here quite a while. So tell me, surely you have traveled quite a bit.
Yep. Yeah. So the moment we got here, and I like to travel regardless of where we lived, I suppose. But Australia was just the perfect country for us to do overland traveling. So obviously we've camped a lot, like old-fashioned camping, I suppose, and then we kind of moved up to, we've had 3 different vans. So this is our 3rd van. Just
nice one. I've seen the video. It looks really, really nice. We're not quite there yet, but one day.
So like I said, as a school teacher, I could justify spending that much money on something. So look, it is something that we enjoy, and it is that hobby, and it's the family lifestyle. And look, yeah, we've been almost, so you'll see in some of the videos in our early days, this is years ago, when the kids were born, we did a lot of travels as well over east your way, all to Wilson's Prom, all the way across the Nullarbor.
Wilson's Prom is beautiful.
Yeah, it's amazing. So a lot of those videos, all of the footage and photos that I have are not really editable. And we didn't speak English at the time. So, well, it's not that we've learned English in 16 years. But yeah, so it wasn't for these types of purposes. So we were all just, speaking Afrikaans, I suppose, and not with the purpose of making a video. So it's really hard to put those together. But I'll work on some footage that I've got that I'll put out on YouTube at some point, and Facebook, just with the drone footage, at least, just to see the travels. But yeah, we've been, like I said, all the way across your way, most of Victoria, all of South Australia, and that's one long service leave trip that we did, about 4 or 5 months. Then up and down the West Australian coast, and west is best, I can tell you that. I've seen a few places, and obviously it's beautiful spots, but Western Australia, the sunshine. I did the Great Ocean Road twice in the summer, and we got rained out both weeks. So look, if you go up north in Western Australia, you will always have enough solar to power those batteries for the van, and have an awesome holiday. So we've trekked up all the way, and you'll see the footage coming out, and I'll release a video every week or so, up to the Kimberley and the Gibb River. So so we traveled into the Kimberley there, and then all down the coast, Western Australia coast. And the best hidden secret is that West Australian coastline, especially that southwestern bit as well. A lot of YouTubers and those types of places, they kind of miss that little bit, and they head back north or east.
I can't wait for that. Look, we did Victoria extensively, just tripping over into New South Wales. We've only been here since 2018, so we're still fresh. And what you're saying about the Great Ocean Road, about being rained out, yes. So much that we were at Erie River West Campground, and it was a beautiful spot. My boy and I we had the Hobie in the water. We caught some salmon, but
Yep.
on day 3, I realized I need to get charged, otherwise we're going to run out of power, and we needed power at that stage. So we what did we do? We drove all the way back towards Melbourne, and we went to a big fall for one
Yep.
night. We stayed there and we charged up. Then we
Yep.
drove back whence we came, and we went to Johanna Beach, which was probably one of the most beautiful spots I've ever seen in Great Ocean Road.
Yeah, we've been there. We've been there.
But yeah, it's beautiful. But you can't, and I've got some drone shots of that where you've got the wild ocean on the left, and then this sort of ridge in the middle, and then this countryside on the right. It just looks amazing. But then we realized it's not a place for small kids to play. They'll take one dip and they'll wash up in somewhere in Europe. So we decided, okay, we in this we want to have a proper holiday. We drove all the way up to the main road where we had cell phone reception, and we did some research, and we decided, right, just past Warrnambool, there's a nice camping ground there. They had room for us for 4 nights, and we're going to drive all the way there, and we're going to stay there. So we did the whole Great Ocean Road up to that spot. Killarney, that was the place name, right? Everyone was like camping around this oval, but it was right next to the beach. So you can go kayak and fish, and we met some other South Africans there, which we're still friends with until this day, and really, really nice experience, and really had fun. But it's not a hidden gem next to the Western Australian coast, I can tell you that. I can't wait for that video. So how about up north? Have you guys ever trekked a bit up that way?
Yeah, so obviously all the way up to Exmouth, Coral Bay. I've got all of those videos coming up with me swimming with a few sharks. So, I choose to chase them instead of them chasing me.
Exmouth is where the Youngbloods guy is, because I watch
he's up that way.
Brody, yes. I love his videos. Oh my word, when the lifestyle that he lives on the water constantly, I don't know how he does it. Obviously, he's got no kids, but that's
definitely no kids.
Yeah, no, I can't go without my babies. They need to trek along with the adventure.
I mean, that guy's doing well for himself. I haven't met him yet. I haven't had the privilege, but he's looking after the environment as well. So I mean, it's
at the same time,
it's great. But that's what happens with the outdoors. And when you said you were rained out on the Great Ocean Road, regardless of where you travel, south, north, in the heat, in the rain, I think camping 101, I suppose everyone buys a big van. They buy everything, all the gear, no idea, and they expect that the weather's going to play along. I think one thing that I've learned from all of my travels is expect for the unexpected, and look, if you wait for the weather to play along, you're going to wait a long time. So you kind of should adjust it. It's harder with kids, but as if you're planning on going on to this particular beach and the swell's up or the wind's up, just postpone it for a day, and do something. Well, do some washing around the caravan or something. Do something productive, or just have a day in bed and watch play board games with the children or this type of thing.
That's true, and you're right. I mean, when we took our big trip up to Great Ocean Road, it was hard. It was really hard, but when we look back at it, it was so much fun, such good memories, and my kids loved it. They loved every second of it. Yes, it rained, it was cold. We did Uno. We had a Christmas inside the trailer, and it was just. And my wife and I, we talk about it often, and we miss it. It's a bit harder now because we're free children in now. But we won't stop. We had a second trailer since that trailer, and the half of that thing blew away in Eildon when everything was calm and we were sitting there. The next moment, a storm came through, and wow, that's a funny story to tell someone, because I can retell that story just the way it happened, but I'll leave that for another day. But
I think we all, if you've been camping, you've had a tent, or we called ours a canvas contraption. It's one of those Jayco pop-up ones, and look, there's all this, so we've been on that receiving end, so hence the van that's solid, and look, and the good thing about having a van like this and putting the money into something like that is when it is a crappy day outside, for the lack of a better word, you can still enjoy the comforts of the van, and then it doesn't become too taxing or too dull, I suppose, and then you've got something to look forward to, and sleeping well. So it's nice to sleep on a good bed.
we will get there. Yeah, our first trailer was a Lincoln Alex Mark II. It was a really nice one, I must say, but it was heavy. It was hard work to set up, even though it was sort of compact.
Yeah.
Second one was a much simpler design. It was the soft fold, the soft floor one.
Yeah.
The reason I bought it in the first place was because of the room. It's got so much space in it. When after it pitched up, it's like a full house,
Yep.
but it's canvas. So yeah, we after the Ilden trip, I decided, nah. So with the baby, it's just hard. We will be going out again. Now we've got a pool where we live now, so we might just spend this Christmas here because we've got some friends that would like to come over and everything. But we'll probably try tenting again for a bit. I never had a bad experience with tent. If you pitch it correctly, it goes fine.
Yep.
I've learned a few tricks. Don't buy the small pens. You buy a proper pen. Yeah. And if you can't get it out of the ground, leave it there for the next guy. And then we'll look at getting a van later on. That's definitely that's a must. If you're in Australia, that's a must. Is there any advice you would give South Africans that they're on their way here? They know they're coming, and they've obviously watched a couple of YouTube videos of their own. They've seen the lifestyle. They've seen how safe it can be in the wild. What advice would you give them if they're not sure where to start?
Yep. Oh, look, I mean, everyone starts somewhere. It's just, start somewhere, I suppose. And then build from there, I suppose, and enjoy the good times and the bad times, and then build on that. And as you said, as well, you have to have your wits about you. It doesn't matter what country you live in or reside in or you travel in, regardless if it's with a van or just staying in hotels. You have to have your wits about you. You can't be ignorant about safety. So you have to, although it's a safe country to travel, we've been very, very fortunate in our travels. But there has been times where you feel like this area feels a bit not so safe, I suppose, or especially I don't want to name places, but I think there's always, regardless, because that changes as well. People move around, and if you feel like a situation or a beach, I suppose, people or animals, I suppose, or weather, if something doesn't feel right, just move along. And that's what makes it easier with our overland traveling. I just turn up. Sometimes I put the drone up and do a bit of a scan, especially when we traveled across the Nullarbor and some of the remote places. I'll put the drone up, suss out who's in the area, and if it feels safe, then we stay. And there have been times where we turned up at a spot, and the decision was made to move on, even though we've traveled for a few hours. It just didn't feel quite right. The gut feeling wasn't right, and so you just move on, I suppose. Go from there. So that's a bit of advice, I suppose. Don't know. Did I answer the whole question?
That's an interesting topic, and I want to explore that a tiny bit. Let's take a minute, because I've seen. So here's the thing: South Africa has issues with safety. We know that. We're not going to sugarcoat it. We're not going to deny it. I like to keep the conversation always. I like to keep it positive, and you'll see on the app's always positive. Everyone's welcome. We keep it positive. If and I don't set a bunch of rules on it, so you're not allowed to advertise this or that. You can advertise yourself as much as you want, as long as everything stays positive. Now, in the topic of safety in Australia, you're right. Sometimes, and we've seen the news of stuff happening, especially on camping trips. Sometimes you need to be vigilant. You can't be complacent. You need to make sure that you make the right decisions and protect your family. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that from a South African already in Australia perspective, it's not always sunshine and roses. You still need to make sure that you keep yourself and your family safe. And I mean, there where we've traveled, even in Victoria, I don't want to name places. I have seen a couple of characters. I have, and you won't ever face the same, say for instance, crime that you would face in South Africa, but there is people that struggle over here, and that sometimes motivates them to come for what you have, maybe for and especially as things go on camping grounds. I've been to plenty of camping sites where they would tell me, lock up your stuff, don't leave your eskies outside, all those sorts of things. Now, I'm not going to think much of a guy stealing my beer. It's non-alcoholic. But if someone steals my van or comes for my camping gear, that's different. So things like that does happen in Australia as well. So I thought I'd get that out there. So that, because at the end of the day, the purpose of this video is to also enlighten South Africans on how things are on this side of the world.
Yep.
So tell me, what's hello?
Oh, I thought I could sneak in. Oh, hello.
Stephen, this is
lovely to meet you.
This is the better half.
Aangename kennis.
Aangename kennis.
Okay.
And I just wanted to say from sort of a female, I think, perspective as well. When you traveling and you're traveling in a van, you're traveling to new places, and you don't have accommodation booked, you're actually just going from one free side to another free side. That's scary in the beginning. It's unnerving, and you can understand when you've got little children and you have to go from place to place to place to place and you don't know where you're going, you can be a little bit apprehensive to do that. But those are of the most memorable and beautiful moments where you just rock up at a place and you're just in nature. You're just surrounded and submerged in nature, and that's when you feel the closest to, well, sometimes each other, and also to God, when you're just in those beautiful places. Absolutely. And that's fear has just totally dissipated for me. So that's another sort of little tip that I can give people is don't be afraid. Yes, be vigilant, but don't be afraid. Go and just enjoy it, because
I must say that the free spots that we've seen in Victoria are for the most part great. We went everywhere, but they were great. I mean, even my wife felt like we come to a spot and she's like, oh wow, and you should see she's totally in awe until she eyes hits the long drop. Then she's like,
well,
we have to leave.
When you can just roll out of your van and you're in those, it's just beautiful. So that's just my tip. I was just listening, and I just say, just don't be afraid of it, and don't say, we keep saying, don't say tomorrow. Do it.
Do it.
Just
I totally agree. Do it. It's Australia. It's one of the most beautiful countries in the world. It is safe. Don't get us wrong. It is just go out there and explore. It's got everything. It's got something of everything. If you can go see the snow up in the Alps in Victoria. You can go see the desert up north. You can go see the tropics in Queensland. You can go see endless beautiful turquoise beaches in Western Australia, or you can go to the Grampians and go climb mountains if you want. It does not at all
everything.
And it's and like Sam said, it is those you tend to meticulously plan everything, and then you think everything's going to work out fine. And that's another, I suppose, bit of a tip. A tip, I suppose, not to meticulously plan. Sometimes just spur of the moment, just go for it, and then adjust and adapt as you go. And that's, as Sam said, that is definitely, if I look at all the footage that we shot, all the memories, the moments that we didn't plan for were the most beautiful. And that's, I think, the beauty of traveling with a caravan, that you don't have to set up. You could literally rock up and enjoy that moment, and without too much effort. You don't even have to unhook or unhitch. You just stop there, enjoy the night, enjoy the moment, enjoy the sunset, enjoy the dolphins, whatever it might be.
Wow. See, now I want to go. I want to go right.
Right, let's go.
I just had 2 weeks leave. I need to now wait for Christmas before I can get the holiday. Hopefully my boss will watch this video. So, like, can I have some extra leave?
Well, look, I talk about. I mean, I'm new to YouTube today, so and I've, as you mentioned, as I mentioned in the videos on the interview, I've been apprehensive to do it. But look, the more views,
it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine.
Get people out there. Get people enjoying what we enjoy too, because it's really it's beautiful.
We're going to shout on top of the buildings and see if we can get you guys more viewers. Oorsee had 5 or 6 subscribers back in March. Today we just passed 3,000. When people are enjoying what they're seeing, it just skyrockets.
Yeah.
So Ben and sorry, Sam.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, and thank you.
Pause.
Yeah, we have.
So
Thank
Ben,
Thank you for giving up your evening / afternoon to talk to me. Please send me over a bit of your footage so I can add it to the video, and just to break up the boringness of watching each other's faces. And let's just show some of the users a bit of your adventures. And where to next? What's the next?
well, next week I'm back at work, you know, so we all have to work, I suppose, unfortunately. But look, you know, so
We
the
were
next,
thinking Uluru next. We
Yeah.
want to go see Uluru.
Ooh, oh,
yeah. So
ooh.
we've got the Kimberley.
Uluru.
Shame you can't
Yes,
find it.
Is wrong.
So obviously there in far north Queensland, that would be the ideal of the next lot of long service leave, maybe not too in the distant future. You know, through the central Oz, and basically we've done Northern Territory years ago, but not with the van. So I'd love to record all of that and then into far north Queensland and enjoy that, you know, a bit more of the northern far north east coast. Yeah.
Be nice.
Amazing. Right. Well, I'll let you go, and don't worry. We'll get our affairs in order, and we'll see you out there.
Good. All right. Thank you so much.
No
Thanks for having
problem. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Stephen.
me.
Let's
Cheers.
see you. Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.